Hi, everybody. And we are so excited that you are joining us tonight. This is a hot topic. Especially if you're in the real estate staging world, you want to have some kind of insight to what one of our main streams of client. We have our homeowners, we have our agents, we got flippers, we got a lot of options. But tonight we are really talking about real estate agents and what they wish that we as stagers knew. So with me tonight, I have Carol. Hey, Carol.
Hey, y'all. Y'all, I'm down here in Nashville.
So Carol's in Nashville and I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona right now. And interestingly, it's always good to have this insight, even if you've been in the same location for a long time. But I'm fairly new to Scottsdale. So everything we're going to say tonight, it is really to prompt you asking questions. And you might find a totally different little niche or a service that your local agents may want you to offer. So we're going to start it off. So first of all, Carol and I both split this between real estate staging, and we would love to hear what you do. If you split it between real estate staging and decorating like we do, or if you're solely staging, because let's face it, the more insight we have, especially if you are splitting the service, you're not focused on it 24/7 or 100% of your business. So it's good to know what is happening and to be able to kind of have that insight, if nothing else, to even ask the question if this is this important to you. So the top goals for a real estate agent is, let's face it, if you're not listing any homes, you're not generating any sales, therefore you're not generating that commission. So they need to get those listings, they need to sell those homes. When they start getting those repeat clients, that's when, in fact, one of my agents that are interviewed, she said, I knew when I started getting repeat clients and referrals that I was going to be okay in this new industry, in this new career that she had picked. The other thing is they want to perform well, because if you do not perform well, let's face it, in anything that we do, then you're not going to be that top of mind, that word of mouth. So list homes, sell homes, repeat clients, perform well. And they're like us, guys, unless you're doing this as a hobby, we need to make money. So yeah, Carol, Carol actually lives with a real estate agent, so she may have a lot to jump in here and add too. Anything else you want to add there, Carol?
Well, it hasn't helped me a lot, just being married to one, but but when he starts to give me some pushback, it's like, excuse me, 20 years. I have 20 years in this industry. I think I know what I'm doing.
Exactly. So it's really good to understand that they're not just floating around with no cost before they sell a house. So we interviewed a lot of different agents with different companies, some with Berkshire, some with Keller Williams, Sotheby's, Benchmark. So why we really wanted to ask a lot of different agents and with different companies is because it was really interesting to see how their basic costs lined up. So here's what all an agent has to, the basics, just to think about before they even sell that house.
Sandra, I'd like to ask a quick question. Anybody on the call tonight, are you an agent? If you're an agent, raise your hand. So okay, we don't have any official. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, we do. Jenny Hawkins is an agent. Okay,
Yeah, Jenny.
Anybody else? Okay, Jenny. So you chime in, girlfriend, if you see something that you would like to add. Okay.
Just text it in the text box, and we will, because you know what? It was interesting in asking, like I said, coming from different agents' perspective, some of the terminology was a little bit different, but this is to give you a broad brush of what we're talking about. So to be a real estate agent, they have got some basic costs and they've got some monthly costs. So I'm going to read them really fast. MLS dues, board, office bills, office cost if they share one, even if they don't, software, marketing support, specific insurance. They have to hold errors and omission. That's, just to cover in case you have the wrong information. Yearly board dues, CE classes, an assistant or a transaction coordinator if you're not at the assistant level. Other software programs above and beyond photography, such as drones, or if you want to have a lot of listings. This range from $6,000 yearly to $18,000. So, I like to keep in mind that it costs our agents. The other possible costs that they're going to have per listing is they could have additional photos. Again, like we talked about, that transaction assistant, printing or advertising. That drone is not typically included in those basic costs. A special software program to be able to send those listings out to websites and social media. And these are just roundabout, we just kind of average what we heard. Then think about they have to pay for a staging, and that's if the agent is paying. And most of our agents pay for the initial consultation. It does not mean they always pay for the listing. Now, I have had, I'm going to say 20% of my agents would pay for everything, especially if it was a really good listing because they wanted it sold and they wanted to be able to make that money. And then don't forget that they are also going to have some kind of closing cost associated with that. Okay, so, they are just like us, guys. They value relationships. They want to know that their clients, maybe become family is a little too much to say, but they want to think of a relationship with their clients. I mean, the ones that I know that have these really great relationships, they're going to dinner or there's some kind of interaction and respect between those clients. It could be a homeowner, it could be a flipper, whatever it might be. Also, they want to have a relationship with us. We may not be best friends, but we have to respect each other. And then our other team members. I had one day, one of my agents said, "Oh my gosh, I love this painter. Can we get that painter?" It's like they have their go-tos that they want to work with also. And depending on where you are, you may have a different kind of, you could add another person here. Your teams may vary sometimes for different projects. Okay. Let me get, Jenny has raised her hand. Jenny, just type your question right there and Carol will read it out.
Yeah, I think Jenny just had her hand in the air because she was telling us she was an agent. I'm not seeing the question. Just
So,
put it in the chat, Jenny.
so also having closing goals. I remember when I first started staging, I met a gal and she said that she was so new and she really felt that her broker was trying to motivate her, that he gave her a closing goal. Now, a few of the people that Carol and I spoke with just this week, that was one of the questions. Do you have closing goals? And they didn't have a goal issued to them. However, they had their own goals. And it's like us. If we know we want to make X amount per month, then we know that we have to work X amount per hours, or we have to generate that. However, you have broken that down, whether it's furniture rental or color consultations, whatever it might be. By reaching these closing goals, they get a great reputation. Oh my gosh, I was with a gal one day in her office. We were talking about a listing she was getting, and 3 people popped their head in and they were like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe how many closings you had this week. How are you doing it?" Thankfully, she pointed to me. Like, oh yeah, thank you. No, I didn't. But the thing is, you help her reach that goal, and that goal means a lot to her. I had one client, one agent one time, and she said, "You helped me get the corner office." And I thought, I'd like a day at the spa, but anyway. So you are valuable not only to making those house look amazing, them getting those closings, but what it does for them in terms of making more money. And you are top of mind awareness, and they become top of mind awareness. When somebody has the corner market on, let's say, a neighborhood, and it starts to build and you start to get another closing, that one agent can be the go-to for that entire neighborhood just by gaining that momentum.
Yes, I had an agent that, he was doing condos downtown Nashville, okay? So I went and staged one condo, and a couple weeks later, I got a call, and wanted me to come stage another condo, and then one week, I said, did you just like go door to door? And I mean, they're just handing you all around, and he just kept getting these condos in that building, and it was like, well, God bless you. So,
And aren't you surprised? I mean, I have moved quite a bit, but I'm always surprised when you might stage a house and it's, the homeowners hired us and they don't have a clue who to call for their agent because they're not in that circle where people are talking about it. So that's where they're going to ask their neighbors, oh my gosh, I see you sold your house quick. Who did it? And then, like Carol said, her agent would pop up then. Okay, success brings money also. So it can reduce or eliminate those fees. I just always loved, I like to know what the sliding scale is because I can say, oh my gosh, are you to the point you've reduced what you owe, or has it been eliminated completely? More commission equals a higher marketing budget. So if they're starting to get on that roll, then they're going to be able to put more money into their other listings. And we did the math, Carol and I, you could spend up to $10,000 a month on advertising. I mean, it's not really hard when you think about it.
one house, but if you've got multiple houses, I mean, it can
Mhm.
start to add up.
Exactly. And by having this success and being able to bring in more money, then they may now get to hire that assistant versus just the transaction assistant. They may hire another agent, and that allows them to, maybe even take a vacation. Because, I have such respect for real estate agents because you are on call 24/7. It seems like you've got to show a house when, somebody needs to see something. So it would be nice for them to be able to have that extra money to add to their team. So, because now they've got more money to advertise, now they also have that visibility. They're out there in magazines. They can afford those gorgeous one-page ads that you see in the luxury magazines or a specific area, whatever their niche is. You don't have to be, and again, you shouldn't be just like us, advertising where our client pool is not. So I had one agent, she was so cute. She goes, I have made the majority of my reputation of, now this is Park City. So, 300,000 or less. And that is a low price point for Park City. Now it's probably be like 500 or, that we equate to that now. But so she's not going to waste her energy or any of her commission advertising in a luxury magazine. But the point is, our agents are, and again, brag on them when you see it. Oh my gosh, I saw your ad in, Park City Real Estate Guide, and I loved it. So that was a great house you showcased. And it's good to kind of, you remember your relationship with them also. Okay, other things to know. I love this, and this is because agents have said this to us. They respect, they want to use a stager because we handle all those unpleasant or the things they don't want to say. We always say, stay in your lane. I'm not talking price. But Carol and I are talking the presentation, what we need to do for that house. She doesn't want to tell them, the son needs to pick up his stinky socks. That's what Carol and I get to do. So by delivering the unpleasant news, in fact, Carol loves to call it, Carol, tell them what you like to say.
Well, it's good news, bad, you're good cop, bad cop. They get to stay the good cop. And I come in with being the bad cop, and that's what you talking about, or that, or are you talking about cat pee?
Oh, no. We've all, who has not had cat pee in the house before or stinky?
I'm the one that gets to come in and say the house smells like cat pee. I won't say that, but I'll say, do you have kittens? Always kittens always sound so sweet. Yes, I do. Oh, I could tell. Okay.
But
Continue.
yeah, so it's our job to deliver that. Well, and it's also that agent's job, because we now have this great working relationship, to say, Sandra, this client's going to be super sensitive. So I am, before I start walking through the house and making notes, I'm saying, don't panic, because I'm writing stuff down. Because I will, and I always will say too, I've moved a lot. I like to find that common ground. But if I were to stage my own house today, I would have to make notes for myself. I mean, we live and sell in homes very differently. So it's nice when our agent gives us some info into that client. I had an agent one time. I'll tell you this story real quick. I am not saying any names. And she did tell me that she thought that the woman was a little high strung. And so when I got there, the husband was doing everything. And so I kind of thought, let me ask. So I said, now listen, when we get ready to walk through the house and go over some of the things that we might need to do you want me to tell this to both of you, or just you, or just your wife? You tell me how you want this to go. Oh Lord, no, don't, just me, just me. So the real estate agent missed this conversation, and the wife was nowhere to be found. So when we get together, the real estate agent said, well, Sandra, don't you think they should fill in the blank? Of which it was a major, I'm talking major blow up. I don't think my 2 years old ever had a tantrum this big. So that sharing of information is valuable, and it really is up to us to take that to heart and to alter our presentations or our verbiage if we need to.
I can weigh in on that too, Sandra, in that I had a client that the agent had called me and said, this client just fired the other real estate agent, and she is hot. She is not happy. And she said, and I understand you're the client whisperer. I went, oh, well, okay. And so she asked me to go and talk with her. And I had already decided before I went, I was not even going to try to sell her or anything. I was just there to, and when I drove in the driveway, she had just got home and she looked back at me, and if looks could kill, I'd have been dead in the driveway. I mean, she was not, and I just walked in and said, you're not happy to see me, are you? And she said, no, I'm not, and she had her brother down from New York so he could get me told, and it's that the other company had told her to do this, that, and the other. And I just thought, whew, okay, I got a good one here. But by the time I left, she was eating out of my hand. I told her, gosh, she looks like you've got some real skills. Well, I thought I did too. And she told me I had to take everything. And I'm real sorry that happened, blah, 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 and all these kind of things. And so the next a couple of weeks went by, and I ran into the real estate agent in the store, and she just goes, she said she went out and completely staged that house for all new furniture and complete, because she'd taken everything and put it in storage.
Oh, wow.
Told her. So she went out and bought new things, and the house is sold and everybody's happy. And so it's like, you need to know what they need from you. What am I stepping into so that you can be prepared?
That's a great story, Carol. And that did happen, I know.
It did happen. Yes, it did.
So the other thing you want to know, and most of your agents, they will probably start out and say, how do you make this presentation? Or like, we love getting to say we use a national scoring system. And, by the time we brag on this national scoring system, they want us. But I had one agent, and sometimes as we're there, we're already there and they believe in staging because their agent has done a good job of presenting it. Um, Sometimes they're like, tell us what to do. And it can be a very streamlined method. I call it almost the honey-do list, and you prioritize with an A, B, or C. But I had one agent and she was very type A. Her clients were not, but she was, and she really always wanted above and beyond presentation. Um, and so she got it. She got it, and I charged her for it. And then it was always up in the air with her if her clients paid or she did. But I learned with this particular agent that presentation she felt was a major reflection on her. So I gave her what she wanted, even though my logo was everything and it was branded for me. Um, the other thing is, your agents can have very specific objections to a property, or they could have very specific wants for every listing they had. I had one agent and we wouldn't get into the house and he would say, now the window washer will be here tomorrow. I'm like, have we even looked at the windows? Do they? And I understand that does make our photos look so much better, but that was so important to him. And now he is the one that wants every light changed in the house to be LED. Well, that's great. I mean, but there can be a price tag for that. And if your homeowner's agreeable, that's where I don't go in there and say, That's not really necessary because we've got great lighting." I'm going to keep my mouth shut on that one because that's a very specific want for that agent. Um, the other thing, I love what you just said too, Carol, about what they need. What does that agent need? What does that homeowner need to be able to understand what you're saying, what you're instructing them to do? Okay, so the other thing is to bother or not. Some things that are so geared even into our mind that we want to do, if we have a long list, we might have to prioritize. But that's where we would say, do you need to bother with that or not? Because sometimes that gives that homeowner that, like, okay, that one was going to be hard for me. Thank you so much. I mean, let me do these others. I have to tell you, probably about 80% of the time, whatever I may have put down the list, because I know it may have been overwhelming for her, um, they end up doing because they just feel like, okay, I can breathe now. Um, Other things Carol and I like to do, in fact, I forgot to pop one in here, is we always offer our agents gift certificates because when they go on listing presentations, they need to look like they're going to go above and beyond to sell and market that house. So we'll just give them a stack, and then if they'll give us the heads up. Mary from Main Street is going to be calling you. This is where she gives me some insight to Mary, some insight to the house. I will always ask in case she forgets because she's busy too. Anything I need to know about this property, anything I need to know about this client. So make yourself a little note if you don't have a really good questionnaire to put it right by your phone in your desk to be able to ask those questions. Okay, we've talked a little bit about this, but all of this just continues to add to having industry recognition. Agents love having those shout outs, and it just gives them respect. In fact, I'll tell the story real quick, and it kind of does line up, but I used an agent one time that had one listing, and this was for my own house. I would not recommend an agent that I didn't know anything about them, just like I don't recommend an upholsterer or a painter unless I have seen their work. But this agent had one listing, so I used her. The broker just could not brag on her enough, and she was amazing. So she said, "You have no idea what this one closing did to get me respect and help me in getting other clients." Okay, this is the one I love. Why I don't use a home stager. I have to tell you, we like to be real honest. I had a very good friend, and she did not call me for listings for probably about a year and a half. And my rule is I will talk about staging with you twice. If you have not used me, then let's talk about the weather. You know, let's talk about anything. But if you have a hard time visualizing what I can do for you, and you're not willing to at least have the consultation, then it's okay. We're still going to be friends, enjoy a glass of wine, but I am not going to push my services on you. Carol, what's your number? Two or higher?
Yeah, about 2 or 3 times. Yeah, and if they don't bite or they change the subject, the last thing I want them to do is to avoid me in the grocery store going, oh, she's gonna, she staged some of my listings. I don't want that. So
Right.
I won't push that at all.
Um, well, and ironically, the agent that didn't use me, she had, going back to that slide about delivering the unpleasant news. She had a homeowner that needed a major, I think it was carpet in the master bathroom.
Mhm.
And she didn't want to have to deliver that news. So I did that. Did a bunch of other stuff and the house sold. So then now it's on the list. Okay. So we thought we would give you just a couple of reasons that an agent may not use a stager, and then what you can do. And again, just role play, talk it out. We've given probably a little bit extra info than you need on some of these, but um, I like to maintain control. Absolutely. We are a team. I stay in my lane. I defer to all things real estate to you. My expertise in training is as a certified home stager, and that's all about the presentation of the home. And that's so important for them to hear. You know, when you have buzzwords and agents or a client goes, oh, they just kind of breathe. I think that I stay in my lane is one of those phrases. Okay, I have a team and I already have a good system in place. Now, that team could be nothing more than the transaction. I don't mean insulting the transaction coordinator, but the team may not even involve a stager. So your response might be something along the lines, congratulations. I know the difference in having a certified home stager as part of the team and what it can make. If you find you could use my expertise in the future, please give me a call. Um, and I want you to notice how many times when we respond to a question, um, we use the word certified. There's a lot of stagers out there that watched HGTV, and that's it. Okay, Carol, you want to do this one?
Sure. Okay. So, the agent says, oh, well, this is a seller's market. And if you haven't seen the news, Nashville is in such a seller market right now that there's hardly any inventory. And so, yeah, that's true. And homes are selling fast. That's right. We know that. I find the agent I currently work with appreciate their listings are selling even quicker and for more money. So it's still, this marketplace guide is so indoctrinated to HGTV. They expect the house to look staged. And if it doesn't, then they're not going to get that, $50,000 over list. They're just not,
Yeah.
that's just not going to happen. Okay, and then the listing is good enough. It doesn't need staging. Well, there again, they don't know until they see the difference. That's why when we say, I have even gone so far as, let me show you what I do. I have even done a free staging for an agent if I really wanted to work for them, especially back when I was new. And I would say, let me show you what I do. And then when that house just goes right off the market and they're so excited, then, we live in our houses very different than we sell them, and there's an art and science to what we do that creates that greater appeal. Also, we understand the traffic patterns, vertical and horizontal square footage, just to name a few. So all of these things, when the agent says that, if you've kind of got that in the back of your mind, is, you know, we live in our houses very different than we sell them. So that's that, decorating a home for dwelling is different than that for selling. So they get that.
And you know, part of these responses are to kind of pique that agent's interest. She doesn't know what a number is for the traffic pattern. She may have not necessarily thought about how to showcase that vertical and horizontal square footage. So you've just piqued their interest.
Right?
And
Like
of
I'm
course, we're not
thinking-
talking about you, Jenny, because you know all this. Okay, so the agent might say the homeowner may not be open to staging. You know, oh, Mr. Agent, I have never had a client who understood staging, turned down a professional job completed by a certified home stager. Let me walk you through the process and our national scoring system so you can understand it. In fact, I will tell you this story real quick because I just thought that. I had a gentleman and he called me at like, I don't know, 2 o'clock, and I was with a client. So I will not take phone calls to generate more business for me while I'm on somebody else's clock. So I call him back at like 5:30, of which he very quickly told me, "You did not call me back in a timely fashion." I was like, "Bob, I am so sorry, but thank you for calling me. Let me tell you, I'm not good." And I said the same thing I just said. I'm not going to try and generate business for myself. He goes, "Well, I went on and used another home, hired another stager." I said, "I'm sure they will do a great job. Do you mind sharing who it is?" So, of course, I didn't know the name. So I said, "Well, I'm sure they'll do a great job. And hopefully they have some type of national scoring system like we do that really just helps take the homeowner be able to see and sell." So anyway, he goes, "No, no, wait just a minute." He goes, "Now tell me about that." So I told him again. And I go, "Listen, you have hired them. They'll be great, I'm sure." He called me the next day. He said, "I'll wait for you next time. We'll be doing business going forward." And we did. I staged every one of his houses, but it's like you have to be able to defend yourself and why you may not have called, right when you could have been with another client. I don't want my sellers to be offended. So the beauty of this question is after you and I explain, the agents have a nice role in this too. And it is your job to explain to your agent, you're going to really open the door for what I can do to help you. So, sell staging, tell them how I work, however you want to do it. But after you and I explained the benefit of staging and the appeal of attracting the more potential buyers, share national and local stats, homeowners are excited about having their home staged. Please understand, I also share how lucky they are to have an agent that goes that extra step in marketing their home. And I always do. I mean, if the agent is standing there, I kind of see if I can get them by themselves. But it's true. I feel they are so lucky to have an agent that is taking that extra step for them. Okay, so I did ask one of my agents to give me a little quote, and she was sold on staging when the homeowner could not see her home as a buyer. Sandra delivering the news was more beneficial than me delivering it. And that's the truth. I mean, it's a team effort, and in sharing those responsibilities, I think it almost makes the homeowner feel better.
Well, I had one, Sandra, that the guy had so much stuff that needed to be done. And I was diplomatic and, like he didn't want me to go in the basement. I said, "Well, you just told me what I'm gonna see. If you don't want me to go down there." But anyway, when we got back to the car, the agent said, "Boy, you're good." In that he said, "I've been trying to get him to deal with that for months." And it's like, yep, I am.
This reminds me, if you guys have, let's see if I can put my hand on it. Hold on. Okay, Carol, grab your book. If you are new to staging, Carol wrote a book and everybody sent in stories.
That book. Okay, hang on.
Oh yeah, it's everybody sent in stories because you may be new, you may not have a lot of these yet. In fact, it made me think about it because I had a story that popped in my head. But what's really cute about this book is if you are trying to get a point across to your homeowner or your agent, you may not have a story yet. So if these walls could talk, stagers and decorators sent in stories and you can use them. So yeah, I just thought it's a really cute book. Okay. Carol, you want to do this one?
Sure. If the agent is unsure of the process, then, what they want to know from us is, tell me how you work. So we say, well, we start with a consultation. It's all about helping you, Mr. Agent, and the homeowner sell their home for the most money in the least amount of time. From the initial national scoring system, and I can't tell you guys, those of you that have not been our students, we really love the national scoring system. And if for nothing else than a marketing piece, in that we have something most staging professionals don't bring to the table. And so from that to bringing in vendors and a team, we have the same goals. And then why should I spend money on a stager? You really can't afford not to. It is the first, staging is a marketing expense. And if they look at it that way, you're making a statement in your listing presentation that you go above and beyond to sell your home. That doesn't mean you have to pay for the staging. It just means you need to be able to present it, even if you pay for the consultation. And then those of us that are stagers, we need to say thank you for bringing me a client, and then it's up to us to sell the staging itself, because most of the time the homeowner is the one paying for the physical staging. But lots of times,
That's such a good example of that revolving door. You may be brought to this client for staging, and now they move on to another house in the area, or whoever bought their home may want you to help them decorate. So that's where it just becomes a win-win for you. I did a lunch and learn, and that's a great option for you. Even if you just been in business for a while, but want to, kind of speak to a whole nother group. I did a presentation and they tell you, you have 6 minutes or 7 minutes. And the person before me went over. And I'm telling you, that did not go over well. So I looked at one of the agents that I use and I said to her, please give me a sign when I'm like, 1 minute and I'm going to sit down. So anyway, at the very end, one of my agents is not paying any attention. He is just looking down. And at the very end, he just popped up and says, do you want to know why I use her? She makes me look good. Well, thank you, Bob. It was that, not that we sold more houses and not that, he made more money. It was like, she makes me look good. I'll take it. So that is your job, to make them look good too. You will become their secret weapon. I remember the day that one of my agents said she'd given me out. She loved getting good referrals. But then she said, I feel like you're my favorite babysitter. I don't want to share your name anymore.
Oh.
And
it's like, I'm not going to tell anybody about you until I'm all done with you. It's like, oh, thanks.
I know. I said, well, you have to make sure I'm really busy then. But I also will caution you too, not saying not to ever do it, but think long and hard before you go with just one agent. Unless that agent lines up perfectly with what you want to charge, how you want to do business, because you really now are going to be on that agent's sole team. Whereas when we talk about teams before, we're talking about you're one of many, and you can be on a lot of different teams. If you really hang your hat on one team in a brokerage house, you need to be really sure that's what you want to do. Okay, so Carol and I have put together 3 staging presentations to attract agents.
Well, I have a question before we start that.
Yeah.
Guys, how many of you have done presentations in a to a real estate group? Raise your hand. I'm looking. Give me a minute. If you have done a staging presentation,
Yeah.
anyone? Okay, all right. Of course you have Miller. Yeah, okay, and there's a couple of others in here. Okay, good, good.
And you know, the
How many of
beauty,
you think you'll never before you die do a presentation in someone's office?
that would have been me.
Okay, anybody saying no way will I do that? Well, good, you guys are brave. Okay, no one raised their hand on that one, Sandra. So good, all right, let's talk about it then.
So we're just going to give you 3 ideas, and we really spelled out every topic for you. You know, like I would say the learning objectives that you want in this PowerPoint. It takes the guesswork out of it for you, and that makes it easier to go and make these presentations. So I will just talk about the first one, and then we'll just go from there. 10 reasons to stage your listings. It sells faster. You spend less money on marketing. Sellers informed about staging. Seller loyalty creates return business. Who doesn't want that? More referrals. That instant team, that good cop, bad cop Carol was talking about. Unstaged homes bring lower prices. Staging validates the price. It does not set it, but it validates it. Photos don't lie. And your professional listing. So in other words, with the time you pop in some photos that are, let's face it, anywhere on the internet of some awful homes that are on the market. And yeah, you know, we're in that market that we all know that is very seller's market, but it's still, why do you want to, you know, sell a house where it has, you know, the dog cage, 3 dog cages in there? So here's one option of an idea for a presentation. Carol, you want to tell this?
Okay, here's another one. You talk about yourself as the secret selling weapon, or I even like to use the secret sauce. Why a professional? Why I use a professional certified home stager? Because the secret sauce understands what the recipe needs, you might think about it being a sauce or it being a selling weapon, is understanding what the home needs. Because, you know, it doesn't need more tchotchkes sitting out. It needs less. You need someone that can not only understand what it needs, but communicate that to the homeowner. And practical suggestions. You know, I'm known as the practical decorator down here in Nashville, and I am just that. Let's just be practical. The other thing that this value being this secret selling weapon is it's a non-biased evaluation. I don't have any skin in the game. You know, I don't care that you bought that, you know, sombrero on your, you know, honeymoon. It's not going to sell this house. Also, we give them a concise report. They know what they need to do to move forward. And we also give that agent a listing presentation aid. And that is, I mean, you know, sometimes they just need something else to talk about. Well, that's another good program.
Okay, so the third idea that we've given you tonight is 5 seller excuses and how to overcome them. The dream client is all about show me the money. And I am the dream client, I can tell you, because it is about money to me. But most clients have, you know, they raise their children there, or they have, you know, they've remodeled it and have this great love for it. But they know we live here is one of the first excuses we hear a lot. They'll want to change it anyway. I don't want my children or my pets inconvenienced. This was a very expensive Fabergé egg collection, whatever it is. It could be a collection of Tupperware. I had one lady say, this is a really good Tupperware. Yes, it's all on the counter. Um, I don't smell anything. I mean, it's very hard for people to smell, identify, or recognize or admit smells of a house that they live in every day. Um, so the solution is to call a certified home stager to navigate through these objections that your homeowner might have or your seller might have.
There's all kinds of fun ways to present this. We can do it, 10987654, and then number one, the biggest mistake that you as a homeowner can make uh, are we presenting to the office, or that you at this office can make, is not calling me. That's your number one biggest mistake. Let me help you sell your hot houses. So, yeah.
I was just thinking we should have had a prize for how many times we said the word certified or professional, because that is what we want you to come across. Um, one other thing I will tell you too, I do love it if I can identify coached agents. Coached agents, and it varies in different parts of the country who may be coaching them, but they are spending money monthly and they're going above and beyond to role play with other professionals, other agents across, or whoever their coach is. But why I like to know who some of them might be is that tells you they're trying to really um, be the best agent they can be. Seasoned agents may not need it, or it may not be cost effective, but I think it's good to kind of, if you can figure out who's a coached agent, to even reach out to them and say, hey, I would love to be part of your team. And I got this lesson. One of the very first agents that used me for every listing, she was brand new and she was paying, this was, gosh, 20 years ago, at $5,000 a month. I was blown away. And she'd get up at 5 o'clock and role play with somebody in, Washington. So she really wanted to be good at what she was doing. So I became part of her team. So any of these presentations that we just shared with you, they're $49. We also have a new class that's coming up. It's creating attention getting florals. We had a lot of requests. We've really started to look at what people wanted, and to give you that class as an option too. And then it will also be, it's $49, and it's going to be good towards your PID certification, professional interior decorating certification. So thank you for joining us.
Does
And
anybody have any questions? Have you just been sitting on your keys to your keyboard, waiting to ask a question? Does anyone have a question about this? We want you to go out feeling good about, understanding the agent. Jenny, did we kind of hit a couple of hot buttons?
And Miller has a question. Oh, let's see. Miller, I think, has her hand.
Yeah, she had just had her hand in the air. She just
Oh, okay. Well, good guys. We did this to just some of this you may know, may not know. But as always, we're available if you have any questions, if you want to bounce ideas off of us. Let's see, Nikki has her hand raised.
Okay.
And also, as we're checking out Nikki's hand here, if there's anything that you want us to talk about, put it in the chat box and we will do our best.
Can we unmute her?
Okay, Jenny says, how many of your agents pay for the consultation and are staging? 100% of my agents pay for the consultation. That's part of their service. And that is, and I would say 100% in the last I'd say 10, 15 years. But in the beginning, every once in a while, I might have a homeowner that just reaches out to me, but most agents are paying for the consultation. And then after that, the homeowner takes over for the actual staging. That's the majority. I have had probably, I'm going to say 5% of agents that will pay for all of it. But They are also, like I said, those agents that have built their business. They just want it done right. I'm in, I'm out, I bring in a team and they write me a check because they also understand that one point we made about it being a marketing expense.
And Mary wants to know, is that consultation on a vacant property too?
It can be, Miller. Most of mine are, if I have, since the consultation is very similar for us in pricing, yeah, I kind of look at a consultation. If the agent has a listing, they typically are paying for it. Now, I want to add too, because I do decorating and staging, and Carol does too. Um, I don't have like 10 agents. I kind of streamline and work with like 5 to 6, because they're agents that get it and they use me for every listing. So that's about all I can handle because I'm splitting it and doing some training on the side. So
Up a little bit on Jenny's, how many of your agents pay for the consultation?
We just-
Remember, we talked about that gift certificate?
oh
You
yeah,
know, a gift certificate has a value. You know, we put staging valued at, our staging consultation valued at, I don't know, $250 or whatever. But we, you know, what I do is I will talk with my agent and say, it makes you look good. And when this comes through, I'm not going to charge you 250 because you have hand carried a potential client to me. I may charge you half, or I'll only charge you, you know, whatever. So whether they, you know, they completely pay for it or they get a deal on it, you know, sometimes they get.
but but the agents are paying even though you gave them a discount.
The
See,
homeowner feels like she's got it for free.
I don't put a time on it. I just say mine says you will get a complimentary home staging consultation by a certified professional home stager. There we go again. Because I don't know. I can have a condo or I could have a, you know, $12 million house.
But you don't put a price tag on it.
I don't put a price tag on it, but I will say to my agent, if I have a particular agent and she's hustling and she wants it to read a particular way, I'll give it to her. I mean, I'm not lying, but I'm just saying if she wants it to say, Sandra, this one's going to be roughly 3 hours, then she can fill that out.
Yeah. Nikki, do we need to, you still have your hand in the air, Nikki? Do you need to chat with us?
Do you want to just type it for us, Nikki, just in case, because it's
Yeah, type that in for.
thank you, Miller. We love Miller said great presentation as always. Can you tell us about the floral workshop? Yes, I would be happy to.
Oh yeah, we're excited.
And Miller, you have met Kirby Holt. So if you're on here and you've not been to one of our conferences in the past, of course we hadn't had them in the last couple of years, just COVID and a bunch of other stuff. But Kirby Holt is a master professional floral designer. He actually decorates the White House. I mean, he is just awesome. He's also very practical. But all of a sudden, it's like we had this influx of people wanting to know about florals because it's beyond just going to get that, you know, succulent that we can buy at Home Goods. And one of the pluses of knowing how to do this is because now you're doing custom arrangements for that client. That does not mean you hadn't got what you're putting in. It could be a base and you could add a few sprigs. So we just thought, you know what, we're diving deep into floral arrangements, but we are also going to make it easy. I'm saying you're going to have a good foundation to it, like a good 101, but then we're going to give you resources. We're going to give you tips on containers, heights, shapes, how to create some things. And that way what?
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't step on you there.
Oh, that's okay. So that, can they take florals with them when they move? Listen, we're selling those florals. Now, and if you want to inventory and make some for yourself and say, I am bringing in a custom arrangement, Mary, for your dining room table because it is so gorgeous and we want to, you know, match the caliber of your home, you can say that. but I like to sell everything I can. My family needs to really be nice. Anyway, I'm all for marking up, because what you're bringing to the table now, not only can you have that wholesale option for the elements that you put in there, you're now putting your expertise into play. So absolutely, you can sell and make some money.
Now, Miller has said Kirby is great, but I don't think I can do what he does. Well, we have a plan for you.
Yes, we do. In fact, we are actually, Kirby is going to consult on some of this. He's so busy, as you can imagine, getting geared up for weddings and all that he does, but he is going to consult and then look for it. Probably in 2 months, Kirby and I are going to do a live webinar. We're going to go live, I guess I should say. And he always does amazing things. Last time I was there, we did holiday decorating, and he showed us again how to do the lights on the tree, but just some of those unique things that only Kirby can do.
We're gonna have, we're gonna do it like, if you're staging, you might do it simpler. If you're decorating, you might be more, but we're excited about it. Something new for you guys to chew on.
All right, everybody, we thank you so much for joining us, and we will post this on our YouTube channel, and you are welcome to enjoy it again or share it. And if you have any questions, like I said, you call and reach out to Carol and me. Thank you so much.
Everybody.
Thank you. Oh, thanks for the sweet words.